You're watching Claremont Voices. Now here's your host, Tom Wiebel.
And thank you, Tim, my co-producer. Well, it's Mr. Russel Bretz today, B-R-E-T-Z. I'm sure you all pretty much recognize this gentleman if you follow any of the music fun here at our place. Living a rich life at Claremont Village in the company of his lovely companion, that's Nancy Gay. I call them couple number one on the dance floor and in their contributions to our lives here. So Russ, I only hope you feel our appreciation for the Bentry Singers, which you founded and entertain us with, and you are a smooth movers, the two of you, out on the dance floor. You obviously enjoy it, and you adapt your dances to whatever the tempo is, and I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
So good to have you with us. We're going to have to keep the pace up because there's so much. I think this illustrates why I wanted to do this series, because there are so many backstories. You've found this out from folks you've met here,
Yes.
Russ, and we don't always get into their lives and learn more about them. And our folks have done a lot of really cool things
Yes.
in their times. Let's stay just momentarily with these singers. By the way, you can take that hat off if you want. I wanted to make sure they saw it. You usually wear this, don't you, at presentations?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any backstory to that? Have you had it for quite a while?
No, I bought these for the entire choir.
Mm-hmm.
And it just adds a little extra pizzazz, so to speak. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, excuse me, I didn't mean to steal your
That's
line
okay.
there. We can set that back out of the way now, thank you. But certainly an active person. Now, we'll get into the music part of things, but there's a whole lot of other things. You were involved in education
Yes.
with colleges along the way. But he also, at one time, folks, was an auctioneer, and you dealt with antiques and such.
Yes.
Another phase of of your life. So eventually, we'll get to as much as we can in the time we have here.
Yes. Okay.
So now, Nancy told how you guys had met. Give me your version. It was at a place called Oakleaf
Oakleaf Village.
in town here.
Yes. It's on,
And,
on Carl Road.
Okay. And of course, you were each married to your partners at the time.
My wife had passed away.
Okay.
Her husband was still living, but he was suffering from dementia.
I see.
And her life at that time was a little complicated. She had to deal with him and all of the things that go with dealing with the person with dementia. So it was an ordeal for her, but she handled it very well.
She had actually worked with folks.
Yes, she did.
And kind of like Claremont, really.
Yeah, she was a counselor. Yes.
So as time went by, as often happens, things change, and there were the two of you who had become good friends, huh?
Well, I had to slow down so she could catch up.
Why am I not surprised to hear that? Well, you two are great, and I know you mean a lot to one another. And the Bentry Singers, well, let's give them a little more time. Our man Tim here is one of your folks there.
Yes, he is. Very important member.
He's allowed to solo once in a while.
Yes. And he directs when I'm not able to function, which has happened a few times. He does a super job.
He introduced the latest of the military songs.
Yes.
Of the new the NASA the space folks there, and that was well done.
Space Force song.
So did this? How did this all begin? The Bentry Singers. You're just with a few folks who said something we ought to try.
Well, we did it over when Nancy and I were at Oakleaf Village. We had a choir over there as well.
Okay.
And It got to be pretty good until COVID hit. Then it sort of went dormant like everything else. And then the activity director asked me to take over the choir because the people needed something. And so we did it there. Then when I moved over here, Nancy was very instrumental in getting things going over here, even before I got here.
Oh.
She moved a month before I did.
Okay. And it's been moving along pretty well.
3.5 years.
We've talked about folks that might be interested. And I guess what, if you can carry a tune pretty well, that's pretty good, and you can check it.
Are like a cemetery. We take everything.
I've heard that line. Okay. Well, and you obviously enjoy it, and
I do.
We all need those things to focus on, I think. And now, tell me more about the music part of your life. Were you into music really early in your life?
Well, just to give you a little history, my dad was in vaudeville when he was much younger, and he was on the vaudeville stage for quite a while. Then the 5-cent movies came out, the 5-cent silent movies, and that killed vaudeville. So he had to get a real job. He became a bootlegger.
Okay.
And made a fortune and lost it all when the banks closed. The banks closed in 1936.
Oh.
President Roosevelt, declared a bank holiday, historically.
Okay.
And he was not even sure how much money he had there, but it was gone. Everything was gone.
Wow. So he found a different direction to go then.
Yeah, my dad was always good with horses, which were very popular at that time.
Yep.
He trained work horses and he helped farmers. It was a regular job was almost impossible to find.
Yeah. Let me cut to the your family. You had a rather large birth family.
Yeah. I had 10 brothers and 2 sisters. I'm the only survivor. They're all gone.
Where did you rank in?
There were 4 younger than me.
Okay, okay. That itself is a whole story, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
Share life in a group
Yeah.
that big.
Yeah, fortunately we grew up in a farming community, so food was never a problem.
Well, good to know. You were born in Ohio.
Yes, right between Bowling Green to the north and Findlay to the south. Just a small town called North Baltimore.
Okay.
Population of 2,834.
Were
They
you
could catch everybody.
were you in that? Did you really grow up in that
I
area
grew up
there?
in that town. I left when I was inducted into the Army. I left.
That was right out of high school?
No, that was in 1951.
Okay, okay.
3 years after I graduated.
Okay. Now, what'd you do in that interim time there before the Army?
No, I sold TVs. TV was new, and I made very good money selling TV because it was very expensive. And after I got out of the Army, then I went to school at University of Akron.
Okay. And what did you study there?
My first degree was business administration. Then the business world got pretty bad. Things changed pretty rapidly. So I left that and went back to school, got a degree in education, a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And 6 years later, I got back to school again and got a master's degree in elementary education, education, elementary, secondary.
Now, you did classroom teaching?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was also a building principal. I got another degree, master's degree in administration. So I got all these degrees, I still don't know anything. Then when I retired, I went to work at the University of Akron as an instructor. Then when I moved back to my hometown, I went to work at Bowling Green State University for another 7, and I finally quit.
Were there some specialties that you dealt with during that period
Yes.
that might be worth talking about?
Yes, well, I dealt with student teachers and methods teachers and some of the preliminary work that the nursing school
Mm-hmm.
requires.
Sounds like you were ready to kind of reach out, and you were one who could kind of roll with things,
Yeah,
would you
more
say?
or less, pretty much. Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And my wife supported me, thank goodness.
I hear you. Were you doing any other entertainment things along that part of your
Well,
life?
I was in a barbershop quartet
Uh-huh.
and directed 4 church choirs. And then later on I directed a men's chorus
Where was that?
in Findlay,
Okay.
Findlay, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And I directed 9 musicals. This was community theater musicals.
Name a couple that maybe hit your memory.
Nonsense.
Okay.
Let's see, 1940s Music Hour, Radio Gals, Frankenstein's Holiday. I mean, they were all music oriented.
Okay. And so you were doing that for some time then?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, in your college experience,
Yeah.
add a few more things that you might have got. Were there some specialty areas there that you most remember, things you did maybe and focused on?
Well, I focused primarily on reading enrichment. I studied quite a bit of political science as electives, but my focus in education was always reading and I would say sentence structure, things like that.
Were some of those sort of breakthrough things at that time?
Yes. Well, the teaching of reading was switching over from phonics to sight reading, and I did not necessarily agree. I thought phonics was the best choice. So we concentrated more on phonics, which helps you if you're studying other languages as
Yeah.
well.
So that you favored that as
Yes,
something really useful.
yes. Then I was an assistant principal for 8 years. I really didn't want to go into administration, but the superintendent finally said, "I need you for this building." And I said, "What if I turn it down?" And he said, "You're not going to turn it down." So I didn't turn it down. So I went into administration then.
When you look back at those decisions you had to make at different times, would you say you made most of the good decisions?
Well, I would say, yeah,
In what way?
leaving the business world was hard because I really liked being in the business world, but things changed so rapidly that it just wasn't working. The ethical standards, I could not deal with some of them. Lack of ethical standards.
Did that get you into any interesting head-on collisions
Yeah.
with folks?
Oh, yes.
And I trust that you probably did not fear to
No,
express yourself.
no. Well, I finally told my boss I was looking for a job before I got this one.
Uh-huh.
And you don't control my life. Only the good Lord controls my life. And my wife, of course.
So you were in that field.
6 years.
Okay. Was there a point of actual retirement at a certain time from some of this?
When I quit working altogether. You
Well,
mean?
I'm not sure I want to know that one, but yeah. Well, from the education side.
Well, I retired after I was elected to the school board in 2003. I served 12 years on the local school board.
Where was that? What community?
In North Baltimore.
Oh, back
my
home.
hometown.
Wow.
And I finally decided enough was enough. Let some of the younger kids take over now.
But did you do some things in that period with the school board that you were proud of?
Oh yes, we built a new high school, middle school complex, and upgraded the entire system, put in a computer system for the entire district. I don't know what this, fiber optic cable. Everything was connected. All the buildings were connected.
Kind of really modernized things.
Well, it was something that was overdue because the messages had to be pretty much hand delivered before they could do it in seconds with the communication system we had.
Okay.
And we put in the new high school, we put in a complete security system. Everything is computer controlled. The heat, the air conditioning, the lighting, security, everything is all computer controlled.
So did you get along okay with the parents and everybody? No big feuds came up, I trust, right?
No, not really.
Good.
No.
Well, sounds like that was a very worthwhile period of time.
Oh,
maybe,
it was.
huh?
It was way overdue.
Yeah.
The old building was built in 1927, so it was couldn't be retrofitted for anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so that's one of your memories, certainly.
Yes, indeed.
So we now did you go back for any further college work at all after any of this, or?
Well, you constantly have workshops and seminars, and as Tim can tell you, it never stops. There are continuous upgrades that you have to keep up with, particularly in the area of changes in the state law. When the legislature passed the Ed Choice Act, that created a lot of chaos. Ed Choice means that parents can, an open enrollment statewide, parents can enroll their children at any school if that school has room for them. And the tax money that the local district that they live in would get goes to that school district. That was a big hit. We got a lot of students in, by the way, from our surrounding area.
Let's jump into this business of auctioneering a little bit more. That was just something that came from just pure enjoyment of it, or?
Well, I started out collecting antiques, and then I got affiliated with a head auctioneer, and he was starting an auctioneering school. And I said, "Can I go to this school? What's it cost?" He said, "Tell you what, you helped me a lot," because I used to help at the auctions. I was a what they call a ring man, like they would call it. That's a reference to what goes on in circuses, the ring man.
Gotcha.
We would hold up merchandise and so on, and we'd spot bidders that maybe the auctioneer didn't catch. And he said, "No," he said, "I'll let you go for free." I said, "Okay." Well, it was a 3-week school, 6 days a week. We started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we were on our feet all day.
No kidding.
Until about 5:30, yelling at each other. 1, 2, 3. You got to get numbers in your head.
Okay.
And
Now,
you have to know merchandise. That's
oh,
the
you're going to
main
say
thing.
so. So you were also learning the whole about all the antique items as you went
Yes,
along.
right. Well, we sold just about anything that people would bring in, but we liked, and for a long time, we specialized pretty much in antiques and collectibles.
Uh-huh.
But as they became a little scarcer, we would take anything that didn't move.
Okay, I got you. Okay, now they have to do a demo here. This,
Yeah.
I'm giving you an automobile to auction off here, if you will.
Okay.
This is a little miniature of my car sitting out back.
Okay.
A little Mazda Miata,
yeah.
vehicle. Mine was a '97. So figure this one has a little time in and service. I don't know. Do as you wish to do, but I want to hear you give me that pure auctioneer delivery there.
Okay, let me tell you about car auctions, how they're conducted first.
Okay.
First, when you're auctioning automobiles, there's always a finance man over here that his company probably holds the lien on this car. And you also have somebody else over here that can tell you about things that you are not aware of the car. But here we have a car that I think almost anybody would recognize. This is a Mazda Miata. Now, folks, this is a great car. All the specifications are listed right on the car. Tell me now, what do you want to bid? Bid at 45 here now, 55, 65 here now, 75 over there, 85 now. Let's go with 90. Anybody got 90?
I'll go 200.
All right, we'll get there. And are you saying 95?
I jumped too fast.
You saying 95 now?
Okay.
Now let's go to 100,000 now. Bid at 100,000 now. Bid at 45 here now. 55, 75. We're way up to 95,000, 100,000. We got 100,000 over there. Now 110, 110. 110, we're going to make this as short as we can. 110, 110 over here. Now 20, 120 over here. Sure, I would. Now 130 over here, now 130, I believe I would. Now 140 over here, now 150. You saying 150? Yes, we'll take 150. What was that? 145? No, 150.
This is like getting
Yeah,
like
right.
Barrett Jackson.
Indeed, right. Yeah, 160 over here, now 170. Let's make it easy. Let's jump it all the way to 200. Anybody at 200? 200,000? Nobody. Well, we'll go back to 180 then. 180, yes, I knew you would. Now 190, now 200. I knew you would. 200,000, now you, 200,000 right here. Now, what do you think now? Look over at the finance man. What do you think? 200,000? You saying 200,000? Yes?
Yeah.
No? What are you saying?
Yeah.
200,000? He said yes?
Yeah.
You're the winner, 200,000. That's how easy it is. If you
Well
have the
done.
money.
That's pretty good.
If people have the money.
At the next concert, we'll have to auction off the baton or something.
Yeah.
Give that some thought there, Russ.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not up to speed on my chant, but I'd have to get warmed up a little bit. But that's essentially the way auctions go.
Wow.
You usually, on just one footnote, you usually have some bidders lined up for cars.
Uh-huh.
You have people if they're interested in a car, will tell me what you want to bid. I'll cue you right in. You have to do that with particularly high-end automobiles.
I have a few other notes here that I
Yes,
wanted.
indeed.
I had mentioned you quoted something when I was first talking about doing this,
Yes.
involving best friends and strangers or something. Like, does that ring a bell?
Well, my dad used to use the saying, "Don't worry about strangers. Keep an eye on your best friends."
Okay.
Well, my dad was, by nature, he was not cynical. But he said, your best friends know they like to play on your weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
Strangers, they don't know what they are. And he said, quite often it's your best friends that will do you in.
Ooh.
And I said, that sounds cynical. And he said, cynical or not, you'll find out it worked. That's the way it worked. Pretty true.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that. I have experienced a few things that I try to ignore that or forgive my friends. But all that being said, if I can just interrupt and say this, that the time I have been here, I've made a lot of really good friends. Many of these people they have a lot of serious issues they're dealing with.
Sure.
Some of them they just feel like they were dumped off here. Nancy and I both work hard when we talk to new people coming in to try to get them involved in something, regardless what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we invite all of them to come. If they don't want to sing in the choir, come and listen. Listen to rehearsal.
But it's what impressed me also, if you want to just live your life and maybe circulate a little, nobody's really forcing you into
That's
anything.
correct.
Which I think is nice.
Well, but it works both ways. Retirement facilities comprise of people that are at the same stage of life, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
with varying infirmities, so to speak.
You have had a fascinating life, my friends. You really have. What's that old question? Would you have made any other turns in the road? Do you regret anything at all, or you think it all worked out pretty well?
Well, I think I also go by what my dad used to tell me. When you make a decision, don't second guess yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to go forward than it is to back up.
I don't think I can do any better than that to kind of wrap up with your.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
That's pretty much true. The first car I had trouble backing it up. Reverse gear wasn't very good. One time I hit a tree, and my dad says, "Didn't you know that tree was there?" I said, "I did, but the reverse gear didn't work exactly right." He said, "You're the one that didn't work right." But
Well,
anyway, as far as doing anything differently, probably, but too late to worry about that
that's
now.
kind of a waste of time to think about, really,
Indeed.
isn't it?
No, I don't.
Well, Mr. Bretz,
Yes.
Russ, as we all know him,
Yeah.
it means so much to all of us to have you and Nancy as our good friends, and
Thank you very much.
appreciate what you've given back. Really do.
It's a pleasure. It's been my pleasure.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. And another reason why, like I say, I enjoy the chance to do this. So with all of that, I'm Tom Wiebel, and we'll see you down the road. No, we'll see you down the hall.
Okay.